A very good morning and welcome. It is a very wonderful opportunity to be with you on this program. This is where we go deep down into issues that concerns our society at large, and we try to see how to make sure that we do not cut corners, but we have our guests sit down to tell us about the deep and in-depth issues surrounding all facets of the sectors that border around Nigeria. And that is why it is called the Citizen's Autopsy. And because on Citizen's Autopsy, we shape our discussions to meet all that has to do with Nigerians, going deep down into the issues and going to check the challenges that Nigerians face and discuss them as bare as they are supposed to be. And this is where we also make sure that all policies that concerns Nigerians are well taken care of. And we bring those who would actually say their minds, not just because they have to say their minds, but because they must say it the way that will entice and also fix Nigeria to where it's supposed to be. I am your host, Uime Anetia, and today with me is the National President of the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria. I like to call him the 3-in-1 because, of course, he is the National Internal Auditor of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), and of course, he is a member of the Governing Council of Menial, and he is none other but he accepts to be called and referred to as Comrade. So let me welcome today my guests, Comrade Mohammed Haruna Ibrahim. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
I'm very glad that you have decided to talk to us today. So let's get deep down into the issues surrounding our universities. Maybe I would love to start with asking, in your own view, how are our universities in Nigeria faring?
Well, thanks for this opportunity, and let me commend your team for this thankless job.
Right.
You know, the job of educating, Nigerians and Africans generally, informing them of what they should know. Information is key to development. If you are not informed, you are deformed. So if you are misinformed or mal-informed, or if you are not properly informed, you also get a lot of issues. So, but channels such as yours, mediums such as yours, help create awareness, and this goes a long way in developing our nation. Now, like you did mention, I am the president of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities (SANU), which is the umbrella body for all senior non-teaching professionals, working in our universities, from our administrators to our lawyers, to our engineers, to our medical doctors, to our nurses, to our architects, to our planners, including our security experts. So it's a whole gamut of, situation where we have the convenience of working with all professionals, people from different callings. Now, universities are supposed to be citadels of learning. It's like the manufacturing industry for human and capital development. So whatever you see today in any clime, anywhere in the world, whether it is in terms of manufacturing, whether in terms of economy, whether in terms of healthcare facilities, whether it is in terms of good media outfits, in terms of production, presentations, and so on. These are all products of our citadels of learning.
Right.
I'm sure you wouldn't have been doing this excellent job you are doing if you had not gone through, a very properly, made up university, whether it is in Nigeria or in West Africa, Africa, or anywhere outside, Africa. So, be that as it may, universities have 3 core mandates.
Right.
Teaching, research, and community development. Any university you see around the world, this is what they are meant to do. They teach students, they conduct researches, and then they also help develop the communities, in terms of corporate social responsibilities, and also impacting on the welfare and well-being of people living within the vicinity or the precincts of such institutions. Now, for you to have a functional university, for you to have an institution that will now qualify to be called a university, you must have three key components of staffing.
Okay.
You must have the teaching staff,
Right.
the non-teaching staff, and then, of course, the ad hoc staff.
Right.
Now, but in all this, the greatest stakeholders are the students. A university cannot be a university without students. You can have all these three categories of staff that I have mentioned, but if the students are not there, it remains a building or a community without inhabitants.
Right.
And it cannot qualify to be called a university. Right. So the students are the most important people in any university, bigger and more important even than the vice chancellor, or even the chancellor or pro-chancellor or any lecturer or any admin staff, because we are all there to put in place policies, programs, strategies, equipment, impart knowledge on these students, so that at the end of the day, we churn them out to the communities, to the industry, and to the world. So, if you are asking me to assess our universities in Nigeria, it's a very difficult question. Difficult in the sense that university is supposed to be a universal concept. A university in Nigeria should be the same with a university in Ghana, same with in South Africa, in Europe, in Latin America, in Asia, everywhere. So whether it is in the UK or in your own village in Nigeria here, you have a university should behave, should also operate in the same manner such universities are. And the concept of having the name university is from its universality. You have people from different, diverse backgrounds. A university cannot be a university if you have all the lecturers, all the teaching, non-teaching staff, everybody in the university from that community. By standard, that university cannot qualify for a world-class university.
So I'm not breaking you, but it is very important that we draw out this concept very well. Since you have actually mentioned the universality of universities, is this how it is done in Nigeria? Is this the concept that we uphold in Nigeria?
And that's why when I said it's a difficult question, I was going to that.
Okay.
Because in the recent years, we are gradually missing those attributes. When, for example, when I was in the university, we had lecturers from all over the world. You had Europeans, you have Asians, you have Africans, outside Nigerians. But today, can you say the same of our universities? You can even count the number of foreign staff, if any. And then during my time, when I was in school, we also had foreign students. People coming from different parts of the world to study in Nigeria. And that is the concept of the universality. Would you say is the same today in Nigeria? So, if you want to discuss that within that framework, it will be difficult to score Nigeria high in terms of qualifying to be said to be running, world-class universities, because we are missing the link. And this may not be unconnected with the general issues happening, challenges within the country, from insecurity to poor infrastructure to bad governance. These are all things that are eating deep into the fabrics of our institutions.
I don't want you to actually take us into that aspect, but now that you have actually gone in there, let us get it deeply and dive into it very deeply and probably challenge it. What do you think is, or you could consider as the biggest challenge or challenges that have been confronting our universities today in Nigeria?
It's very simple.
All right.
Funding.
Funding.
If you want to have a world-class university, if you want to have a functional university, if you want to have a university with a system that operates, you must be ready to fund such institutions. Is it the case in Nigeria? It's a discussion for another day. Because universities cannot operate without funding. You understand? Because there are certain things that you shouldn't compromise.
So maybe let's break it down. I want us to actually converse so that we can hit the nail on the head. So you've mentioned funding. The funding that you have mentioned now, which aspect of the university community is it affecting more? Is it the teaching, the research, the infrastructure? Which of them is really affected?
All the things you have mentioned are interwoven. They're interwoven.
Okay.
You cannot attract quality staff if you don't pay them well. And that's why when I mentioned that we used to have international, people foreigners coming to teach. You have people from Asia, from America, from Europe, coming to teach because the pay was still attractive. Now, for anybody that you want to attract to come and teach in a Nigerian university, first of all, you will think about the security of his life, his property, and then the future of his own generation, his own children. You understand? So, what is the value of what you pay our workers today? Whether it is in the universities or even generally in our workplaces around Nigeria. But since we are discussing, limiting this discussion to university working life, if you do not fund the universities well to be able to pay their staff well, you will not attract the best brains around the world. Secondly, you must equip such universities. A university must be fully equipped in terms of equipment, in terms of other facilities. You must make sure that for teaching and research to take place, facilities, equipment, environment is conducive, and those facilities are adequate. Those equipment must be modern, and the staff must be well trained. Because you can have all this, if you don't have staff who can operate the machines, it amounts to zero. So that's why I say it's a whole gamut of problem. And that's why everything now goes back to the funding. Now, if you talk about, we have talked about the quality of staff you want to attract,
right?
Because you have to pay them well, and then talk about the facilities, equipment, and then the training of the staff. You don't bring a staff and then you don't train them. The world is dynamic. Things are changing. The cameras that you are using today, I know the cameras that were used so many years back. I remember when we used to have, reel to reel, you have VHS machines, Vitamax, and so on. But today you can see small camera like this giving you quality. And maybe in the next 10 years, you may not even have something like this. It may be something like as small as your pen. So universities must also train staff. How do you train staff? You must have funding. You must have money to send them out. It's either to send them out to other places to go and study or understudy, or you bring in facilitators who can come and then teach them and orient them on how to do things. So, and then looking at the students' life, hostel facilities, Medicare, because you can have all this, the best of labs, the best of the quality of teachers, the best of quality of staff. If you do not have good secured environment, the university amounts to nothing, because no parent would like to take his child to such place, because if you take your child, you will also be thinking about how much money will I keep for ransom. So security must be there, adequate hostel facility, world class, at least top notch. You have water, you have electricity, you have internet. These things you cannot do without in the life of our students. And then, of course, like I said, medical care. You have seen crises in universities here and there. A student will, fall, ill, and then he will be taken to the clinic, and they'll tell you they don't have drugs, or the doctors are not there. So every university that is serious must have a befitting medical center with adequate qualified staff, so that if challenges come up in terms of students, accidents, ill health, some challenges like that, they can quickly have a place to go to and get attended or get treated. So that's why you cannot today say that this is more important, this aspect of the university is more important than this one, whether it is the teaching sector or the non-teaching sector. Because you can also have the whole of this, best university clinic, best facilities in the lab, best lecturers, but if you don't have good admin staff who can process your results, who can, do your transcript if you finish. You can go to a university and you finish, and then maybe you're in the UK, you're looking for transcript, and then you cannot get. Everything that you enjoyed in that university will evaporate. The next thing that will remain in your heart or in your mind will be that frustration you're having of not accessing a transcript. So you see, it's a chain.
Okay.
Every part of the chain is important, including its weakest link.
All right. Let's hold it there. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll discuss. We're still in this discussion with Comrade Mohammed Haruna Ibrahim. He is the chairman, or say president, of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities. We'll go on a short break. When we'll return, we'll discuss the role of SANU in universities. Do want to stay tuned. Welcome back to this wonderful edition of Citizen's Autopsy. And I am still Uima Nete, your host. Seated with me today is the national president of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, and he is none other but Comrade Mohammed Haruna Ibrahim. And I'm very glad to still have you seated with us. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's dive into the other aspects. But now I'm talking about your role and SANU's role generally in Nigerian universities. So, what has been your role? And say, what has been SANU's role in Nigerian universities, and how effective has it been?
Well, in the beginning, I did, define for you who our members are.
Right.
Those qualified, performing professionals running the engine of the university, oiling it. Whether they are in registry, bursary, security, healthcare, students' affairs, and so on and so forth. We are all over the place. We are the people you meet at entrance. We are the people you meet within the system. We are the people that you meet at every corner. Whether you are a staff or a student or a visitor, we can make or mar your visit within the university. We give you good impression, we give you bad impression, we give you lasting impression. So our people are indispensable within the university system. Our people are those who service everybody, because we service the students, we service even our colleagues, the academic staff, and then we service the management of that university, or administration, if you want to call it that way. And then we service visitors to the university. We are the ones putting everything moving within the system. So SANU as a union is that umbrella body that makes sure that workers in those areas I have mentioned, especially at the senior cadre, are not shortchanged by their employers.
Okay.
We fight for our welfare and our well-being.
And who are their employers?
Our employers in this situation is government.
Okay.
Government could be state governments or federal governments. We also operate in the inter-university centers.
Okay.
You know, apart from the regular universities, we also have inter-university centers, like the French language village in Badagry,
right,
the National Mathematical Center in Abuja here, the Arabic language village in Maiduguri, you know, and such areas. And then I think there's another one in Aba, you know. So these are the places we work. Today, we have about 95 or 97 branches, about 97 branches, you know, of our members within those public institutions.
Now, you have mentioned that your employer is government. So, what has been your relationship with government over the years?
Government being what they are.
What are they?
The employers of labor.
All right.
They provide the environment for work.
Okay.
They, you know, do a lot in making sure that they pay salaries, allowances, and then also make sure that facilities, equipment are provided for workers to use. So our relationship has been that of mutual respect, has been that of mutual understanding, has been that of, you know, working together. But this does not mean that we don't have frictions. Okay. From time to time, we have issues where whether it is a breakdown of communication or lack of sincerity in ensuring that things we have agreed on with them, you know, are not made, you know, government does not do its own bidding. So in that situation, we normally also have the right to also withdraw our services, okay, or protest or do certain things within the framework of the laws, you know, in Nigeria, to make sure that our voices are heard. You cannot stifle our necks and then you want us to keep quiet. We don't do that. So the union is there actually to protect the integrity, the welfare, and the well-being of its members. And in this case, this is what SANU stands for, and this is what we do. Recently, the most recent development within the system is the signing of our 2026 agreement with federal government, enhancing, you know, our alliances and other conditions of service of our members working in our public universities.
Has it been signed?
It has been signed on the 29th of June, you know, that's last month, and the implementation is what we are waiting for, and we hope government will not renege and they will go ahead, you know, to make sure that they put smiles on the faces of our workers.
Okay, so as we round off this session this morning, first and foremost, thanking you so much for accepting that we do this discussion together. Let us ask this as a way to end. What would you say your message would be? What message would you like to send to the federal government, who actually are your employers, the university management, whom you actually work with, the students, and of course to the Nigerian public?
Well, the message is simple. For government, please, government should continue to improve on the funding of our universities. Beyond the structures they put in place, they should also continue to look at the welfare of workers. Because if you make university workers happy in Nigeria, half of the problem of Nigeria is going to be solved. Because you will have good quality product of, you know, students, graduates that will come out. If you have quality products, people like you, jobs will be available. People wouldn't have to be going from one pillar to another post, you know. People wouldn't have to be sitting to wait for jobs to come and meet them. Entrepreneurship will naturally evolve, you know, and then the staff will be sincere and they'll be honest, they'll put in their best. So if you make them happy, you are creating a very secure environment, because there will be less insecurity. There will be a very healthy community with people who knows their rights from their lefts, who will stay in a clean community, who will not make, you know, the environment dirty. And then lastly, if you make university workers happy, the environment will be peaceful because you won't hear of any strikes or any demonstrations or anything. Everywhere will be cool, calm, and calculated, and then we will continue to have, a progressive community.
Many thanks to you, the National President of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities. We are very glad that you accepted us. Thank you very much for granting this opportunity.
Thank you so much too once again for this platform, and I encourage you to continue to do this nation building work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That has been the voice of Comrade Mohammed Ibrahim Haruna, who happens to be the national president of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities. And we had a very thoughtful discussion on encouraging our Nigerian universities to stay better. And of course, he, in the course of the discussion, has brought in the federal government, who happens to be the employers of labor, so that together we can build a sane and a growing university community in our country. Many thanks to all of you who have listened. This has been Citizen's Autopsy, and we hope to return with more exciting moments where we will discuss policies in Nigeria that will help to grow our nation even better. I am your host, Uime Anete. Have a wonderful day.